Good morning. Thank you so much for welcoming us into your home. I'm Chris Roof, the lead pastor at Peachtree. It's hard to believe, but we are in the final Sunday of our summer movie series, and this morning we're going to take a closer look at The Princess Bride and what it has to teach us about revenge and sacrificial love and patience and what it means to wait on the Lord. So that's today. On August the 9th, we will be starting a new 4-week sermon series with a companion midweek Bible study that is centered around the theme Justice for All. You know, we've been hearing a lot about justice lately with protests that are still taking place, with calls for reform, and with the dismantling of systemic racism. So during Justice for All, we will try to better understand God's justice with the help of Proverbs, Amos, Isaiah, and Micah. But we want to be sure that you also know about next Sunday, which will be our congregation's Golden Cross Sunday. Golden Cross's mission is to enhance the quality of life for all seniors who are served by Wesley Living. And so to tell us more about their work, we will be joined by David Kabikoff, the President and Chief Philanthropy Officer of Golden Cross, and we'll also hear a message from the Reverend Dr. Harry Durbin, the Outreach and Advocacy Coordinator for Golden Cross. So be sure to join us next Sunday as we celebrate the work and ministry of Golden Cross Senior Ministries, and then invite others to join us on August the 9th for the start of our newest series, Justice for All. Now, let's worship God together with our first song.
Shall we gather at the river, where bright angel feet have trod, with its crystal tide forever flowing by the throne of God? Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful river. Gather with the saints at the river that flows by the throne of God. On the margin of the river, washing up its silver spray, we will walk and worship ever all the happy golden day. Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful river. Gather with the saints at the river that flows by the throne of God. There we reach the shining river, lay we every burden down. Grace our spirits will deliver and provide our robe and crown. Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful river. Gather with the saints at the river that flows by the throne of God. Soon we'll reach the shining river, soon our pilgrimage will cease, soon our happy hearts will quiver with the melody of peace. Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful river. Gather with the saints at the river that flows by the throne of God. Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful river. Gather with the saints at the river that flows by the throne of God.
Thanks again for joining us online. We believe that church can happen anywhere. We're so glad that you're staying safe at home and worshiping with us in this format. If you have any questions about anything that's going on at Peachtree, I hope you'll type new in the chat if you're new to Peachtree. That way I can connect with you this week, send you a Facebook message, or just get in touch with you. You can also fill out a digital Connect card by going to peachtree.church/connect, and there you can share prayer requests or ask questions. Maybe it's a question about how do I join the church. You can sign up for the church newsletter, but that is a great resource for you and a way that you can connect with us online. Right now, I hope that you'll check into Peachtree on Facebook and that you'll tag us in your Instagram posts. Thanks to our ongoing partnership with Causley, we're able to support the work of a different nonprofit organization each month through the simple act of checking in on Facebook. As a result of your check-ins so far this month, we've already provided over 3,200 gallons of safe drinking water to people in need through the nonprofit H2 Open Doors. This Rotary Club program has the long-term goal of providing access to clean water to over 1 million people throughout developing countries. So your check-ins are helping to fund the installation of a SunSpring water filtration system, which will serve thousands of people every day. So every check-in this July will provide 50 gallons of safe drinking water to a community. Use the hashtag #GiveWater so that others will know about this month's cause. Our book club has been meeting online in recent months, and we just finished The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. If you'd like to watch the replay of that hour-long discussion, you can find it in our archive videos. And be sure to join our Peachtree Book Club Facebook group to vote on future titles. Our book club has made a selection for our August 11th online gathering. We will be reading and discussing American Dirt by JEANINE CUMMINS, a book that has been called a grapes of wrath for our times. If you like to read, if you're a bookworm, if you have a friend that likes to read, then pick up a copy. Tell them about American Dirt and join us on August the 11th. In case this is your first time worshiping with us online, we want you to know that we're more than just a Sunday morning church. We upload morning devotionals to help you start your day off right every Monday and Thursday. We live stream a weekly Bible study every Wednesday night, and several small groups have come up with creative ways to see one another in person in our church parking lot, in each other's driveways, or just hanging out in someone's backyard for fellowship, dinner, and Bible study. Past sermon series are archived online at peachtree.church and also at Facebook. And all of our weekly devotionals are on Facebook and on our website as well. And we have nearly 3 hours worth of video from over 20 lay people in our church family that you can watch on demand. Worship on your own time with these tools and resources and videos from Peachtree. And join us live every Sunday at 10 o'clock Central from Facebook, YouTube, and from our website, peachtree.church. If you have any questions about our online events or you have suggestions for future ministries, then contact us at office@peachtree.church. Please like and share this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and say hello to others in the chat. Now, let's continue worshiping God together with another song.
There is power, power here in this hour, this hour. We're all together, together, waiting here as one. There is power, power here in this hour, this hour. We're all together, together, waiting here as one. Oh, hear the sound from heaven. Oh, a mighty rushing wind. Oh, we're calling for revival. God, let your fire fall again. It's burning in my soul. It's burning in my soul. All your sons and your daughters dreaming the dreams of their fathers, seeing the signs and the wonders, the kingdom of God. Yeah. Rushing wind. Oh, we're calling for revival. God, let your fire fall again. It's burning in my soul. It's burning in my soul. Hear the sound from heaven. Oh, a mighty rushing wind. Oh, we're calling for revival. God, let your fire fall again. It's burning in my soul. 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 There is power, power here in this hour, this hour. We're all together, together, waiting here as one. It's burning in my soul. It's burning in my soul.
As you just saw in that video, there are several ways that you can support the ministries that we have here at Peachtree. If you have a smart device, I hope that you'll text the word PEACE to 77977 and then follow the link in the reply. It's a safe and a secure way in order to give to Peachtree. If you're watching from your computer right now, I hope that you'll consider opening up a new page or tab and visiting peachtree.church/give. And if you prefer to write a check, then I hope you'll mail in your tithes and your offerings to our physical address, 9315 East Shelby Drive in Carterville, Tennessee, 38017. We thank you so much for your continued support. Last week, we heard a faith witness from Catherine Burris on Rio Bravo Ministries located in Reynosa, Mexico, just south of McAllen, Texas. This year's team will be made up of church members from Collierville United Methodist Church, from Byhalia UMC, and also from Peachtree. The dates for this year's trip are October the 31st through November the 6th, and there are still some spots that are open if you'd like to attend. The cost is approximately $775 per person, and that covers your airfare, your food, and the building supplies. But if you're unable to go this year and you or your small group or your Sunday school class or UMW circle would like to make a donation or even sponsor a fun activity night for the kids there at the orphanage, then please contact Catherine at kpburris@comcast.net. And please pray for this year's Rio Bravo missions team as they tackle several construction projects and also spend quality time with the children who live there. Again, you can contact Catherine for more details, or you can even call us in the church office. Now, let's continue worshiping God together.
and I felt no worth. You paid it all for me. You have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you gave yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God, yeah. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you gave yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God,
Families, we're about to hear a children's sermon from Mrs. Connie, so we hope you'll join your family around the screen. And parents, we know that you're making some very important decisions for your children and for your families as we quickly approach the beginning of this new school year. Please know that we are here for you. We want to support you however we can. We want to pray with you. So please reach out to us and let us know how we can help you at the beginning of this school year. But now let's enjoy this children's sermon from Mrs. Connie.
Good morning. I'm Connie Jackson, Children's Director at Peachtree. Thanks for joining me this morning for Children's Time. Good morning, Peachtree kids. Today I'm in the kitchen. I'm trying to find a snack to eat. Do you like snacks? Let me tell you what I have. I have some flour, a lot of it, if you're really hungry. I have some salt. Do you think you might like either of those for a snack? Or maybe some eggs, some raw eggs. I have 2 of them. I also have some sugar, a lot of it if you really have a sweet tooth. Maybe if you're thirsty, you like some of this, some vegetable oil. I have a few other things. I have a little bit of baking soda and a little bit of baking powder. What do you think about having them for a snack? Well, actually Actually, I'm not very interested in snacking on what I have found in my pantry today. I think we can all agree that these are all good things to have in my pantry, but if I eat the flour, I think it would probably taste pretty bland. And if I eat the salt, it's probably going to taste very salty. And I think it might be pretty disgusting to eat a raw egg. Or try to drink this vegetable oil. It would definitely make me sick if I ate any of these things I found in my pantry by themselves. But do you know what happens when a good cook blends these ingredients together? All the ingredients make a scrumptious, delicious, delectable, mouth-watering cake. This cake needs each one of these ingredients together to be fabulous. Each of these ingredients has a purpose in forming my cake. But if any of these ingredients are left out, even the smallest, like the baking soda, the cake will flop. Did you know we're like the ingredients in the cake? In our Bible, in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 27, it tells us that we are the body of Christ. The verse continues and tells us that each one of you is a part of it. Even though all the ingredients from my pantry are good things, there's very little I can do with them all by themselves. But when I mix them together with all the other ingredients, I can make a delicious cake. We're like this too. When we all work together, it brings out our greatest potential. God wants us to work together for Him. Like the verse in our Bibles from Romans chapter 8, verse 28 says, "We know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." God mixes and blends all of us in His church together to be fabulous. Sometimes we may feel like we're only a small part of the church and don't make much of a difference. That's not true. What I need each of you to remember is the baking soda in the cake and how that small ingredient makes such a big difference. On the other hand, maybe sometimes you might fail to appreciate people in the church and think they're bland or unpleasant, like the flour or oil or raw eggs by themselves. But when you think about that, I want you to remember that my cake won't be good without all the ingredients. Remember, we are all key ingredients. We are all needed to be the body of Christ, the church. Let us pray. Dear God, thank you for giving each of us a purpose and blending us together to become your body. We know that with you in charge, we will become the best we can be when we all come together. Amen. Today I'd like to ask all the Peachtree kids and families and all those that are watching to remember when you're baking a cake or eating a cake that each and every ingredient is important to make the cake taste delicious, just like it takes all of us working together to make up God's church. May God bless you and keep you safe. I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Mrs. Connie. Parents, be sure to connect with other families and other parents. You can search for Peachtree Families on Facebook and then request to join that Facebook group. And again, reach out to us if there's any way that we can support you and your children as this summer break comes to an end. Speaking about things coming to an end, our summer movie series is coming to an end, and we are ending things this morning with the 1987 family classic, The Princess Bride. In just a few moments, I'm going to head indoors and join this morning's panel as we talk about our final film for the summer and how it connects to revenge and sacrificial love and God's timing. And so we'd like to hear from you. Did you enjoy this summer's lineup of movies? Did you enjoy the Netflix parties? Do you want us to host other interactive online events so that we can hang out together in that virtual format? Are you ready to show some school pride on September the 6th during our tailgate Sunday? We've got some ideas for how we can socialize and stay connected while socially distancing and staying apart. As always, contact us for more info about upcoming events. Stay tuned to our newsletter and our social media posts for future updates. But right now, let's head indoors, say hello to our Sunday morning panel as we discuss the biblical themes that we found in The Princess Bride. Thank you, church, for coming indoors with me. I'm joined this morning with a panel of some of our friends from church this morning. First up, we've got David and Karen Kelly. How are y'all doing, Kellys?
We are good.
Great to have y'all with us
Great.
this morning. Thanks so much for being with us. For the first time with us on one of our Sunday morning panels, we've got Allie Crisco. How's it going this morning, Allie?
I'm doing good.
Thanks for being with us. And we've got Rachel Younger, who's returning to be with us again. Good morning, Rachel. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good.
All right. Awesome. Let's talk about The Princess Bride this morning. That's our movie for this weekend. We were planning to have a Netflix party. Unfortunately, Netflix, they had a contract with The Princess Bride. It ended in May. We weren't aware of that when we finalized our movie list for the summer. And so it actually reverted back to Fox, which is owned by Disney. And so it reverted to Disney Plus, and hopefully we put out an announcement this week. Some of y'all had the chance to watch The Princess Bride, rewatch The Princess Bride on Disney Plus. Some of you might even have it on DVD or Blu-ray or VHS, dare I say VHS, since this came out in 1987. So we hope you had a chance to rewatch The Princess Bride from this past week for today's discussion. But when we look at The Princess Bride, there's something for everyone, right? There's Buttercup, you got the dread pirate Roberts, there's an evil prince, there is a centuries-old miracle worker, right? We've got swashbuckling action adventure. There's rodents of unusual size in this movie. And so I'm interested to hear from our panel, what are your favorite moments from The Princess Bride? What are the elements from this film that you like and really you can see it in other genre-type films as well? Did you have favorite quotes or lines, or are there running gags from throughout this movie that have just really stuck with you through the years?
When I first saw this, I was little, and I was very much into watching WWF with my brother, and Andre the Giant was like my favorite.
Yeah.
So when I first saw the movie, it was all about Andre for me. I just love Fezzik. He is my favorite character. He's still my favorite character.
Yeah.
And my favorite scene with him, I mean, it's just a simple little scene, but it's my favorite, is when him, Fezzik and Inigo are on the ship and they're just kind of bantering back and forth with their rhyming game.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part. The whole movie is their little rhyming game. It shows you that even though they're like these pirates and they're, basically kidnapping a person, they are still just very sweet, like good people. They're just kind of in the wrong line of work.
Yeah, the wrong line of work indeed, as pirates. All right, yeah. So Fezzik played by Andre the Giant, which at one point Arnold Schwarzenegger was up for the role. Can't imagine him in that role. It has to be Andre the Giant, right? Yeah. What about for you, David?
I really enjoyed the duel at the top of the cliffs. Just the honorable way that the two characters kind of meet and do battle. It's still a battle of wits to some extent because they're both using their weaker hands, their weaker stances. They're having fun with it. It's very lighthearted, but they're both very honorable during the entire ordeal.
So I think that my favorite running gag of the whole movie is Vizzini's "Inconceivable." Just like everything, he's like, "No, that can't happen. Inconceivable." Yeah. And it all just comes together, and it's great.
I love The Princess Bride. I remember when I first watched it, I was like at a birthday party in second grade, and I just remember loving the movie after I saw it. But kind of like Allie, one of my favorite scenes is right before the hill where they're arguing, and Wesley says, "Life is suffering. If someone else tells you differently, they're selling something." I love Miracle Max, Billy Crystal's character, when he's using the I forgot the fireplace kind of air thing when he's trying to figure out the reason he needs to live. and he says true love, but he's like, it's true blave. And his wife comes out and is like, he said true. Like the whole dynamic is just hilarious to me. But I think my favorite scenes though are with the grandfather and his grandson, whenever they interject, like as the grandfather's reading and the son's like, hold up. Is this a kissing book? And then, like when he gets so concerned that, Prince Humperdinck, might win. And, the grandfather's like, maybe we should stop. Maybe we should just take a break. I just love the relationship. And then at the end, when the grandson's like, if you can come, will you come over tomorrow and do the same thing? And the grandfather says, as you wish. Like, tears.
I know. It's, it gets me every time. It is a sweet, story too, when you consider the grandson-grandfather dynamic. With Fred Savage, pre Wonder Years, Fred Savage in that role as the grandson. So yeah, lots of great moments, lots of great quotes. So there is this one quote that we hear: "Death cannot stop true love. All it can do is delay it for a while." So Wesley supposedly dies, right, in at the beginning of the movie, but he comes back for Buttercup. I'm wondering from y'all, what does this movie teach us about unconditional, sacrificial love, and how do you talk about God's love for you and God's love for your loved ones?
True love, if it's real true love, I mean, true love doesn't die. It shows. I mean, if somebody goes away, if somebody dies, the love doesn't disappear. It's still there. It's there forever, and that's like how God loves us. It's there no matter what, day in, day out, no matter what we do, it's always there because it's true love. It's real.
Yeah.
I mean, God loved his only son so much that he let him die for us.
Yeah.
So I imagine it's the purest form of unconditional love that's ever been stated before and written down for generations to know of.
I mean, I think it shows you that just because you can't see somebody like tangibly or like hear them all the time, doesn't mean that love isn't there. It's still constant. So I think that's kind of what it kind of teaches us about love, and like God's love, especially, even though we can't always see it tangibly or feel it, like he's still there. Kind of what the Kellys were saying too. Yeah. So like just, he's always constant. He's always there for us. And I think that's, you said something about how do you tell people about God's love. And I think it's really important just to show it. So I try to be consistent, like with my roommates, always being there if they need to talk really late at night, or, being a consistent daughter, friend, telling my brother I'm proud of him, like giving my dad a hug, just trying to be like consistent in that love. Because I feel like, even though Wesley wasn't there, she thought he had died, like he still loved her and it still was there. So I think that's kind of what it teaches us about it.
I think that like God, he was showed us the equivalent of complete, sacrificial, unconditional, whatever needs to happen love. Literally sacrificing your child is the epitome of that love. But I also see God as like my first true love. Like he is always going to be the first love in my heart. So whatever comes after that, that comes. But that's kind of how I view his love for me and for my family.
We definitely see this idea of sacrificial love in the movie, and hopefully if we take that and you multiply it by infinity, that's the type of love that God has for us. So here's another quote that often gets quoted or shared in memes, or it's just it's memorable because of how many times it gets said. But hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Right, that's one that we see throughout this movie. So Inigo, he spends 20 years of his life tracking down the six-fingered man. He's bent on avenging his father's death. And after succeeding in his goal, he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do with the rest of his life. What lesson does this movie teach us about seeking revenge? And what does the Bible say about revenge versus forgiveness?
Well, Inigo, like, he becomes obsessed. Like, that's all he talks about. That's all he thinks about. Like, whoever he meets, he's like, do you know a guy with six fingers, or do you have six fingers? And so by the time he completes, I guess, his revenge, he's like, what am I supposed to do with my life? Like, he kind of has this like empty void. So like revenge can become something that's like almost addicting and like obsessive. Like, it just consumes your life. And you definitely see it in Inigo. And the Bible, you know, talks about, you know, turn the other cheek when somebody, you know, hits us, or even like when it comes to forgiveness, like Jesus said to forgive 7 times 77 or something like that. Like, so, you know, we're supposed to forgive more than we do anything. And that's really hard to do, but it really is, I think, more freeing. Like, you could just see that revenge like consumed Inigo's life, and forgiveness frees us from that. And like, it says that Jesus forgave us, so we should forgive others. So like remembering like we're forgiven for things. So I think that's, you know, it's definitely counterculture to what people would say, like, oh, you should take revenge, or you should, you know, one up somebody. But, you know, God asks us to forgive, and that's not always easy, but it is like, it not only frees that person, but it frees the person who gives forgiveness.
So I very much agree with Rachel that like Inigo, he had almost this tunnel vision of, hey, you killed my dad, and this really hurt me when I was young, so now I'm going to kill you, and that's my life's mission. And then getting to that point, it's almost like, okay, so you spend all these years going to school, and here you are, graduation day, here's all this work that you've done. What's your next step? And it's I remember feeling like that, where it was like, I got to graduation day, I put all this work, I put all this energy in. What do I do now? Like, what is my focus going to be? So that's I know what that is like, and the tunnel vision. And what I really got from like revenge versus forgiveness is the one that always sticks out to me is love your neighbor as yourself. It's probably one of the hardest things to do. Remembering that everybody needs to be treated the way you would want to be treated. It really is. It's more difficult than just, hey, this is what you're supposed to do. But it's something that I almost constantly have to remember, and have to remind myself that, hey, I really should be doing this, and this is how I should be living my life, and presenting that example.
Well, there's a lot of verses throughout the Bible where it's God's kind of duty to be the one to pass the judgment, to handle the vengeance, not revenge, but the vengeance. And elsewhere it's mentioned not just, you know, forgive others, but a big part of the forgiveness is forgiving yourself as well. It's kind of you have to handle both sides of the argument, almost.
And also, but you have Inigo, who's 20 years, holds this revenge thing. He's just going after the six-fingered man. I mean, spends all of his life. And then you've got the other characters in the book, or the movie. And like, Wesley doesn't kill Humperdinck. I mean, Humperdinck tried to kill him like a few times, and he doesn't kill him at the end of the movie. He just, you know, he did what he came to do. He got Buttercup, and he moved on. So you've got like major revenge, and then somebody who just, I mean, you know, I don't know if he actually forgave Humperdinck, but he definitely didn't do his like anything vengeful. So I mean, you've got like kind of both sides of it in the movie.
So there is one final question I want us to consider and it centers around Billy Crystal's character as Miracle Max. So at one point, Miracle Max says, "Don't rush me, Sonny. You rush a miracle man, you get rotten miracles." All right, so I'm interested to hear from y'all. What does this teach us about patience? What does this teach us about waiting? And for us as Christians, waiting on the Lord.
So I'd say patience is like one of the hardest things for me. I want something done a specific way. I want it done that way, and I want it done now.
Yeah.
And probably one of the hardest lessons I learned in life with that and with God's specific timing is getting through nursing school and being dropped from a nursing program and feeling like a failure, and then other things happening and the timing of those things, and then being able to go back and actually finish. And here I am now. I'm a nurse and very successful and loving what I do.
Yeah.
But it's that was probably the hardest lesson for me to learn and to go through was, hey, this is how it was supposed to happen. So that's my thing on patience, and I do see getting through that process as a little bit of a miracle in and of itself.
Yeah.
And as far as like waiting and patience right now with what we're going through, everybody wants answers. Everybody wants to know what's going on, what's the next steps, what do we do, where do we go from here? And we just don't have those answers yet.
Yeah.
So it's taken a lot of like praying and just reflecting on everything that's happening, but also giving it back to God to say, hey, you'll figure this out. And we just have to wait for you to figure it out, and then we can figure it out. So that's how I kind of see all this that's going on.
Yeah.
When I heard this question, I don't know why, but that song Unanswered Prayers by Garth Brooks like popped into my head.
Yeah.
And, it's like, we pray for things that, basically might be even praying for miracles. It's not anything that's just going to like happen. We're expecting like these big things to happen, and, it's not going to, but we want it, know, and it makes me think I'm going to kind of go back to my little teenage years, and probably by watching those romantic movies like this made me, act like this. But I remember always praying to God when I was this little girl or whatever for just to find my true love.
Okay.
Like find that perfect boyfriend or whatever. And, and honestly, I didn't date much. I didn't really have any boyfriends. I never found anybody like that. And, and I was all, getting kind of sad. I'm like, God, why aren't you finding me my perfect person? And lo and behold, this one drops in. And he, we were going through some pretty hard things in our lives when we met each other.
Yeah.
And, I'm getting emotional now. And it just made sense. He brought us together. We were going through some of the same hard things with, sick parents. And, it was like an unanswered prayer, like God didn't give me what I wanted when I wanted it, but he had something better planned for me. Yeah. And all we had to do was just be patient and, wait that, 10, 11 years, and there we go.
Yeah. God knew what you really needed. And, and I think, and again, it's this idea of just trusting in God's timing, trusting in God's provision. David, what about how's this kind of all sitting with you? This idea of God's timing and what it means to learn patience.
Top that, baby.
Two things really come to mind. When Miracle Max says, "Don't rush me, you'll get a rotten miracle." Right? You could translate that into a whole lot of things. If you rush a builder to build a house, you're going to get a bad foundation that's going to crack. Yeah. You're going to get a terrible mud job on the drywall joints, right? You're
Yeah.
going to get a bad paint job. You don't at work, if you rush me to do what I do, you're going to get worse results than if you just gave me a little bit more time to provide, better value.
Kind of echoing what everybody was saying, God's timing usually is better than our own. I relate to Allie when I thought I was going to be a nurse, and then I failed nursing school the first semester. So I had to reroute my entire plan for college, and it turned out, I mean, I'm still in school, so I still have to practice, I think, patience a lot. Yeah. But I definitely feel like I'm in a field that is more my gifts. And in high school, I never would have thought I would be a school psychologist. I never, in my first 2 years of college, would have thought of that. And now I'm in this field, and it makes complete sense. But definitely during this time, it is very hard when people are sick and like people are getting their jobs laid off, like, or being furloughed. Like, it's hard to be patient. Like, it's so hard to like not know what the outcome is going to be in the future. And kind of like what you said, Kris, like it takes a lot of trust, like trusting that whatever is on at the end of this, like it might not look how we, had wanted it to look, or look how we had thought it would look, but it might be better for us at the end. Or it might look, how it's supposed to be. It is hard to like, it's hard to say like, oh, just wait. Like at the end of this, it's going to be better, because you don't know that. But it is like a lot of trusting that we're going to get through this, or we're going to like make it through, and like God is going to take care of us at least during it. So yeah, I think that's kind of what I was thinking about with Miracle Max.
The idea of having a stiff upper lip, or like just, chin up, and just like telling people it's going to be okay. Yes, it is. It's hard to hear that if you've been impacted in a huge way right now. And so I think, again, I believe that part of God's plan in providing for us is giving us this faith community. How do we find ways to support each other as a church family? I think that is an important question for us to ask. How can God provide for us through the gifts and the graces that we all have for each other? So if we can be there to support you, then please let us know. Don't hesitate in reaching out to us. I am so thankful for our panel this morning. I want to thank David and Karen Kelly, and Allie Crisco, and Rachel Younger. We appreciate y'all being with us this morning. And I'm going to head outside, and we're going to close out with some thoughts that I have, especially about this idea of like God's provision in Miracle Max and what that could mean for us today. So let's head back outside. My thanks again to David and Karen Kelly, to Rachel Younger, and to Allie Crisco for joining me this morning for our final summer movie series panel discussion. If you missed a week of our summer movie series, then check out our YouTube channel or our Facebook page. You can also head to our website, peacetree.church, to see all of the previous weeks and all of the previous panel discussions. My mom and dad had a chance to travel to Israel in the summer of 2018, and the tour guide that they had made this statement. When Jesus taught his followers, he didn't use PowerPoint, but he had the power to point. Many of the stories in the parables that we hear Jesus use during the lessons in the Gospels, they often involved everyday objects and items that were readily accessible, objects that you could see with your own eye. They were things that people had access to. The stories in the parables he told weren't necessarily based on real-life people, but they involved situations that pertain to real life. And this is why I love using movies as tools that help us to get to the heart of biblical lessons. Many of us have access to the films that we watched this summer. Many of you have seen them multiple times. They involve stories that relate to our real lives. And books and films like The Princess Bride are timeless tales that each generation gets to discover and fall in love with. So, as we consider the final point from our panel's discussion just a few moments ago, I want to ask you this. Are we willing to wait on the Lord? Miracle Max taught us if you rush a miracle man, you get rotten miracles. I believe that God is up to something right now and that God is teaching us an important lesson. I know that we all want an answer. The entire world is waiting for an effective vaccine. Individuals are ready for reform to take place, for hurtful systems to be dismantled today, that all of our concerns about the upcoming school year would be addressed. But I do think that trying to force a situation, trying to speed it up, or pretending like nothing is wrong is not the approach that we're called to take as believers. Psalm 27:14 says, "Wait for the Lord. Be strong, and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord." Do you believe in the sun even when it's not shining? Do you believe in love? True love, even when the other person is not there right in front of you? I pray that you will believe in God even when it seems like God is silent, even when it seems like your prayers are going unanswered. I pray that all of us might practice patience, that we all might remember the words of the psalmist, that we might wait for the Lord. Neil A. Maxwell once said, "Faith in God includes faith in God's timing." Friends, as we keep an eye on what the future holds, what is happening around us, as we turn on the news and scroll through our social media pages, may we wait patiently for the Lord to perform His miracle, to enact His plan, and to make His own way in our lives. Will you pray with me? Hope beyond all human hope. You promise light and salvation in the midst of darkness and despair, and promise redemption to a world that will not listen. Gather us to yourself in tenderness. Open our ears to listen to your word, and teach us to live faithfully as people, confident of the fulfillment of your promises. We ask this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Friends, thank you so much for worshiping God with us safely from home this morning. If you happen to find us online and you'd like to learn more about Peachtree, then please message us over Facebook. You can email the church, or you can reach out to me directly. We are so glad that you found us online, and we want to take these next steps in faith with you. If there's any way that we can support you or pray with you this week, then type prayer in the chat, or you can also email us at prayer@peachtree.church. Remember, friends, to wait upon the Lord. Faith in God includes faith in God's timing. So have patience and hold fast to God's promises. As always, remember to like and share this video. Subscribe to our channel. God bless you, friends. We will see you back here next week as we celebrate Golden Cross Sunday with our friends David Kabikoff and Dr. Harry Durbin. Take care and God bless.